Well, hello, 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 and welcome to Steamfeed TV, Steamfeed TV, episode 16. We are here with our full panel tonight, so we are expecting a few fisticuffs and some good things going on. We have some surprises later in the show, but we're going to be talking about, tonight we're going to be talking about Twitter. We're going to be talking about where social managers and community builders and where they fit in the revenue stream and how important is that to them and their careers. And, of course, we cannot go this week without talking about Alex from Target. So we're going to start off right away, and we're going to, right off the bat, we're going to be talking about Twitter. There's been reports that Twitter has been thinking about going to a subject-based format as opposed to individual followers based. So, in other words, instead of people following you as an individual, everybody follows a subject. And my personal opinion is I don't think they're going to do it. I have some strong personal opinions about whether that's a good move or a bad move, but I want to throw it out to the panel, and why don't we start with Jeff?
I don't know. I can see the value of why they're doing that because they want to try and get everybody into more content-driven and following a certain things that interest them, and so hopefully it'll keep their attention longer, and hopefully it'll keep them engaged with the platform a little bit longer. But I think it's going to diminish some of the things that people go to Twitter for right now anyway, and that's instant news or instant feedback or whatever. I'm not sure that having people following a certain subject, you're still going to be able to do that as effectively. I'm not sure. I hope they don't do it, but I can see why they would want to. But I don't know. I don't see how it would be beneficial.
That's true. All right. Go ahead. Anybody jump in?
I think that Jeff's got a good point, but he brought up, like, you go to Twitter for news feeds. That's my go-to source. I mean, Twitter has become captivated by the news media, so to speak. That's the instantaneous news that you can get, and their idea would be to subject matter of trending to build up an audience there. So in other words, if ISIS, are you interested in that? You could build up an audience following a certain subject matter if you have that interest following that. So I see it as I don't know that Twitter would change their overall application, but it gives you in other words, they're enhancing the ability to follow a hashtag, so to speak.
I just had to giggle when you said like following ISIS. I thought to myself, well, you'd probably have a whole bunch of people following you, but you wouldn't know they were. They'd be working out of an office.
Yeah, well, yeah. Maybe I should have said politics or something like that.
Doreen, what's on your mind?
I very much agree with Randy. I mean, I go to Twitter, and I've seen instances where that's where the news breaks first. I've been on Twitter when important things came down, and they're the first one to report it, first one to see it, first people to talk about it. I really think that if they're going to change the format, they're going to really change Twitter, and I don't see it happening. I do think what they're trying to do is, people are going to more visual platforms. They might be losing some traffic to, first Pinterest and Instagram, and of course, there's lots of stuff going on with Facebook, lovers and haters, and so maybe they're just kind of putting some feelers out there. I don't know. I'm just wondering, maybe they feel like the forgotten platform, and maybe they're just trying to stir the pot. I mean, who knows? I don't know if they're trying it or if they feel like they need to do that or not.
Let me just add in there. I think Twitter has found a place as being the first in with a headline.
Mm-hmm.
The headline that, like Doreen just said, hey, I find that on Twitter, and then I go somewhere else to get it deeper. I don't think they're going to deviate from that. I mean, they have and are the instant news media. In other words, the billboard that flashing on the interstate when you go by that says, hey, there's an alert. You know, that is the feed that Twitter has, and they're doing well. It just so happens that it plays well with the news media.
Well, I think the problem with that, though, is that there's a limited growth opportunity for that, because people want more Facebook kinds of feeds where they're getting the stuff that they're particularly interested in, whereas we are really interested in breaking news. And so there's a limit to the number of people that can sign up for that platform, because it is a hard entry point to understand right away when you're first doing that. So it makes sense. I think I have to put away that the Twitter I love died. And that's not really what Twitter is anymore. And if you were new to it today, it would be very confusing and hard to do. And the things that we use it for may not be of value to your average Joe or Jill, which is who you're trying to appeal to. But what's frustrating about that is, in its unique selling point, there was a show back in the 90s called Felicity, and Felicity had this long, bushy hair, and everybody loved her hair. And in the third season or second season, she cut all of her hair off. And people went crazy, and they hated it, and they petitioned, and they were very upset about that. And what the mistake was is that people thought that people really liked the show Felicity, but what they really liked was her hair. And when it comes to Twitter, what we really like is breaking news. We don't really go there to have great gobs of content curated for us so that we can peruse it like the daily newspaper.
Right.
That's not why we go there. We go there because things break there. So if they try to change the focus that is not the breaking news place, which there's a limited interest in breaking news, that makes sense, but then, you know, people are going to get upset because it's like the hair. We like the hair. That's why we go there, because we can't get the hair in other places that we go. So I think that's the danger is that becoming so broad, they're going to lose the people that are interested in this one thing that it does particularly well. If they sacrifice that, they're going to sacrifice some of the old school users, I think.
Well, maybe they're trying to do something like Flipbook or Paper.li or something like that, and add an extra dimension. I hope that's what they do.
Okay, I'm going to offer a bit of a contrarian view, and I'm trying to I'm noticing how I use Twitter, and maybe it's a little different than everybody else, but I have a bunch of different, like I have lists all set up, and so one list is going to be marketing, one list is startups, one list is the Philadelphia Eagles, one list is whatever, and so like that's kind of how looking at it, I think that's how I actually use it, is through subject matter. Is there like the general list where I'm quote unquote following everyone and I see what's breaking? Yeah, but if I was going to look at when I look at my Twitter dashboard, I would spend 80% of my time on the subject matters that I sectioned out from my list, and 20% of the time, and look, so that's breaking news. Oh, look, so and so just got nominated for just won the gubernatorial nomination in Pennsylvania or whatever it is. I
think that's the point.
I use it via subject matter.
But
more
you
so
created those lists and those subject matter experts. Like technically,
yes, I did. I did curate those.
At a tech conference, because Kim Kardashian has an app and she's in tech. So Twitter could say, okay, you're interested in tech news? Well, here's what Kim Kardashian is doing with tech, because that's the latest tech news. So that's what kind of scares me, is that those of us who do know how to curate, and I do the same thing, I follow lots of subject matter experts.
Right.
Their definition of subject matter experts might be very different from our definition, or who we would put in our list.
No, that's definitely a great point. I mean, I don't necessarily want to lose that freedom to say, oh, okay, I don't like what you're saying. Let me unfollow you. I understand that point. But in terms of how I use it 80% of the time I follow subjects.
But I think that's the point, Greg. I think that's what they're doing. Those of us who understand the technical aspects of the platform develop our own list, and we put whatever we're in there. This is making it for the mainstream out there to say, hey, are you interested in the Kardashians? You can follow this right here and get all the news you want. I think that's what they're doing with that.
But I think when you talk about the Kardashians, Jennifer, you have to be careful, because wasn't it Kim Kardashian who tweeted yesterday that she wished Barack Obama all the best in his re-election bid?
Well, whoever her following might be, whether it be Democrat, Republican, or conservation or non-conservation, those people that follow those type things, your subject matter, that's what Twitter's trying to say, to attract more people to come in, because we all know that we've all dealt with people that go, man, I just don't understand the concept of 140 characters.
Right.
How do you, I mean, I just don't understand that. So they're trying to develop a way to garnish more audience out there.
Oh, I think that's definitely their rule. I use Twitter. I use Twitter pretty much it's my platform where I can say what I really want to say and talk with friends that without having to, because most of the people I know are not, other than like yourselves in the Steam Feed group. I mean, there's a lot of people that are local that aren't on Twitter. But for me, when I'm watching the Blacklist, I'm tweeting right along with Blacklist. When I'm watching The Flash, I'm tweeting right along. I use Twitter. You know, I still am active on Twitter chats. I use it for a lot of social stuff. I really enjoy Twitter for that because I can jump on and have great conversations about TV shows I'm watching. I think that's.
I don't get that anymore. I don't know if anybody else has that experience, but that's no longer my experience on Twitter. When I talk, it's a lot of crickets because there's so much noise. That's my experience maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and it just doesn't happen for me as much anymore. Every once in a while, I can hit a window where there's people who want to talk, but it just seems like a lot of push. So my experience has changed like 180 degrees.
I kind of go along with Jerry on that. I think if you're into watching, say, the Super Bowl or the Blacklist or whatever it is, if you get in there and use that hashtag, you can live tweet with what's going on. Now, to me, what I've seen is just the exponential growth of that usage that you can't really kind of keep up with the conversation. Used to, you could kind of engage with people about it. Now it's just there's so many people on the platform that those things just get taken away from you. So that might be some of the stuff that you're experiencing, Jen. It's not as cohesive as it used to be because it's proliferated with so many users.
I think we can all agree, though, that one of the reasons they're looking at this is they're trying to make, because all of us, as you said earlier, all of you had mentioned at one time or another, that we deal with people who look at Twitter and say, I just don't get it. So I think they're trying to make it so that more and more people can get it. But I don't know if that's needed. I mean, to me, I think they have a good... I don't know.
Well, I think what they're trying to do is make it more social again. I think they're trying to figure out a way for people like us that are saying, it used to be social, now it's not anymore, it's more breaking news. How can we make it more sociable that people go there actually for, to hang out, which is what people do on Pinterest and what they do on some of the other, Facebook. People actually go there and hang out.
I'm going to actually be a quick cynic and say that that's actually not what they want to do at all. They want to figure out a way that, this is a good way to monetize it, so that way when Jerry's watching the Blacklist, he can see the same ads on NBC as he sees on Twitter, and that'll be all fine and good.
You're probably.
I think Greg is right.
Nothing to do with being more social. They don't give a shit about that.
Yeah, but I think Greg is right, but I also think that Doreen's right that they're trying to find a way.
It might be.
Driving revenue stream.
It's a happy coincidence that look, this might be we're going to be more social, but we're also going to make more money.
Let's switch gears and go to something a little bit more heavy. One of the things that happens here, as all of us are involved in this profession, we see the fourth quarter can sometimes be a really tough quarter for those that have immersed themselves into being solely, for lack of a better term, social media managers that manage just social media accounts and work for companies doing that, large and small, corporations and what have you. But I think one of the things that's evolving in this, and it's becoming an interesting thing. I don't think it's reached its pinnacle yet. I think one of the things that's very interesting in the space right now is people are figuring out, those of us that have been doing this and those of us that are just coming in because people are actually going to school for this now, if you're not tied to revenue in some point, you're going to have a struggle because you're going to have to show whoever it is, either the mom and pop owner or the big corporate board, that what you're doing on those social channels is actually making them money. Because I personally believe, in the end, if if you show them that, yeah, you should see the growth on our Facebook page, and my goodness, the Twitter page is blowing up. It's awesome, but we haven't made any more money. They don't get enthusiastic, but when they can see that there's money coming in and you're affecting their bottom line, they get a lot more enthusiastic, and I think the space is changing. So I think the whole idea of being a quote influencer and all those things may be changing, and that's just, I mean, it's in a state of flux right now. So I really want to get everybody's idea. So jump at it, you guys. Just pick your place and jump in.
Well, I've got some thoughts on that. I think there's a big difference between moms and pops and big corporations, because I think you're right. With moms and pops, they're saying, what's the return on this? In big corporations, they won't reach that point for another 3 years, I'd say. And I suspect in about 3 years, a whole lot of social media people are going to lose their jobs. Because right now, corporations have set up departments for this and content flow systems, and they've hired community managers, and they're quite happy to count likes and follows and shares and think those metrics are measuring some sort of progress. Because a lot of times when I go into big companies and I'll say things like, well, what's your goal? Like, you want to increase sales, but like how much and which people? They can't even answer those questions. So there's no way that they've developed a social strategy that will support those objectives. So what they've developed is a social strategy about being social. So right now it's quite successful because there's a lot of socializing going on. But I think when we get to to the time where we have to start measuring things and looking at budgets and saying, okay, we've been doing social for 3 years. We haven't made any more money in this particular sector. We have a whole lot of people doing that. They gotta go.
One thing, I'm not talking about those that are hired within the company. I'm talking about freelancers that are running their own companies.
I think it's the same.
Is it the same?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think a mom and pop is, their budgets are tight, so they're more likely to say, like, did this work? Because I don't have a lot of money to keep hiring people to come in here. Big firms can hire agencies to do this for years and be quite content to have not a whole lot of anything happen before anybody really asks the hard questions, which is what are we doing here?
I agree with Jennifer, and I think what she just said, in the smaller organizations, it perks up first because of the budgets. Larger corporations, a few years out. So
you have more throwaway budget. Okay. Well, any other dissenting views?
No, I mean, what I'm seeing is that I'm working with mostly small local companies, and yeah, it's not necessarily initially on their radar, but that's my job to ask them. My first question is, what are your goals, and my second question is, what's your budget? But then we have to figure out what their most profitable client is, and then we develop a marketing plan. So I do always tell them I can't really guarantee you return on investment, but I can guarantee that somewhere along the line we're going to find these people that are going to tell you, found you through here, found you through there. I'm still working with people trying to set up Facebook pages. I'd like to get them into email marketing. I'd like to get them into blogging. I'm still working on baby steps, but I'm seeing more and more people willing to pay the money. So we need to figure out strategies to, get them a return on investment at some way, and some of the clients that I have are getting people in their, establishment saying, hey, I got lost and I asked Siri and I found you. Siri told me where you were and I didn't remember your name, but I got there, which is part of social, what I'm doing, getting them there, getting them found. So I have a bunch of those success stories that are working, but yeah, ultimately, is it, can they see it, can they measure it? Yes and no, depending on, what I've set up. But I agree with Jennifer, is that I still see so many business owners that don't even know they can measure it, don't even know what to measure, don't even know. I mean, they're at basic levels of social media.
What kind of value are they putting on a like?
What did you ask, Randy? I'm sorry.
What kind of value would a small business that you deal with put on a like or a share out there? What do they see in that as? What does that mean to them?
To them, it means that somebody is paying attention to their business, that they're getting in front of somebody. That's what they're seeing. At least, the ones that I'm dealing with, is, they're counting likes. One of them is getting to 1,000. She's very excited. She's getting to 1,000. And, I think last year we were at 500. Now we're close to 1,000. We ran a contest around Christmas time, and it was pretty successful. Well, now we have double the likes. She's excited with the prospect of, running some contests and doing some giveaways. And, to her it means that there's more people engaged. There's, and we're doing it all, organic, building it up, and people coming in and then liking the page, and so they're connected. So these are truly valuable to her as a business owner, because these are people that have been in the business, have been connected. So I think in that regard, with this business owner, she values them a lot because she knows them. She can look at the names and she knows who they are and they're return customers. So we build it that way. But there are other, businesses that I work with that don't work that way.
You had some important. I know you have some stuff on your mind that you talked about this afternoon. Jump in here.
So I guess it's definitely so I work with a much different clientele than Doreen does, and my client is generally a very. I generally work with tech companies who are extremely data driven, and so we'll work, let's say, on a 3-6 month contract, whatever it is, and I have to justify at the end of each contract why through revenue. So if they paid me X, I have to show I have to show them, like, hey, I made you guys 3X in revenue or 5X in revenue, whatever the number is that we agree on. And so most of my clients don't really care about a like. So if we do Facebook, we're going to probably run Facebook ads, and we're going to know down to the penny. We're going to know that it costs 48 cents to get a click, and we're going to know that the landing page converts at $2.94 or whatever. Yeah, $2.94 or whatever for one lead, and then a customer to get to a free trial is going to cost $5.33, and I know down to the penny how much a click or a like or a not necessarily a like, but a click is worth for them. And so I think and I don't know if necessarily we're going to be out of business in 3 years, as Jennifer said. However, I completely agree with this. We're going to be completely undervalued if we are pulled away from the revenue. So if, let's say, you're a social media manager right now making $50 an hour, and you're building likes and you're engaging and socializing and all that kind of good fun stuff, and that's non-tangible. In 3 years, I don't know if that person's going to be out of business or if they're going to be making $10 an hour. And so I think the further away you get from the revenue, the harder it is for you to prove the revenue. Whether it's a large firm or a data analytic firm or a data generated company like I tend to work with, or a small business, at some point they're going to wonder, wait a minute, how much is this costing? Why am I doing this? Why am I paying you all this money when I don't see a thing in return except for Facebook likes, which I don't even own, or Twitter fans or followers on Twitter, which I don't even own? So I think that's really where. So that's what I see, and again, I tend to work with much more forward-thinking marketing companies than Doreen, but that's kind of what I see.
And I know we're all on the edge of our seats, waiting for the howl. We're gonna have to start giving you a name, the howl wrap up, or I'm gonna have to think of a name for you.
Yeah, we're at
that head of yours.
No, here's what I think. I think it's going to go in a different direction. Now, assuming a couple of things happen here. Now, we're seeing a trend in very data analytic driven social stuff. That's not new, and it's just going to keep expanding. But I think what could happen right now from this point here is if you got a community manager that is still doing the same thing over and over and over again, then there's going to be a problem. But if the industry as a whole sort of leans into this whole idea of continuing to be yeah, you got the data there, and that's very important because you need to justify and quantify your activities. But is the brand and the marketing of that brand sort of intertwines with that a whole lot more, I think, than people realize. And so in my thing, in the next 3 years, now assuming that people are doing this correctly, I almost think that maybe we'll be at the same place or even better, where as long as these community managers understand that there needs to be this human quality to the brand that they're managing in the social space, then I think that either it's going to remain status quo or even possibly grow a little bit.
But even if they do realize that, I'm not sure that in a lot of larger companies they're given the freedom to pursue that angle. So I think there's a lot of very smart community managers out there, and I think there's a lot of companies who are still saying we control the conversation, everything has to go through legal, it's got to be compliant, you've got to have it checked by so-and-so, PR people have to check. I mean, there's still all these systems and processes, and especially when you lay down those people with that, it's very difficult for them to go a return because they've got so many people.
Well, yeah, I see that, but I also think that there are people in the marketing space, whether they are working for a large corporation or they're independent, are starting to get this idea that brand and brand management needs to be a little bit more nimble when it comes to the human conversation. So I'm almost wondering if maybe some of these people that are rising up into the ranks, they might be able to, maybe it's a pipe dream, or maybe I'm just not understanding it properly, but
I hope so.
I almost feel like that maybe there'll be a shift in that where the benefits or the quality will go up, and the community managers won't be stuck in where they are now.
This is a very optimistic thing for you here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you that, Powell?
It's the vodka.
Yeah, Jeff the cynic.
Hey, we got like 3 minutes left. I did want to bring up Alex from Target, and quickly, we have like I said, 3 minutes. I just want to go through the panel and what do you guys think? Was this set up or is it?
Is Alex a real guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was on Ellen. Did you see the clip? He was on Ellen.
Yeah.
How
do you know that Alex was a real guy though? Just because he was on Ellen.
I think the company's lying. I don't. What do you guys?
I think it's just one of those things. It's one of those obscure, weird Twitter things that, or viral things that just the stars aligned, and all of a sudden, some tween-age girl thought that this guy was cute. It tweeted a picture of him, and it just exploded. I just think it was just.
And it created a bunch of talk, right?
He went from 144 Twitter followers. He's now over 600,000. Is that
how many of those stories have we heard over the last 4 years, 5 years?
In about 55 cities now. Yeah. That's pretty much what that means.
And he's terrified. The poor boy is 16.
He is terrified.
He has like 600,000 Twitter followers, and he has no idea what to tweet.
And he's getting marriage proposals.
I feel bad for him.
If you have a chance, you got to see his interview on Ellen. He's very genuine.
I'd be hiring me a friggin' manager. That's what I do.
He only worked there for 3 months.
Yeah, he's making $10 an hour.
We all want our 15 minutes of fame, so Alex maybe get a little bit more than that. I think I would parlay that into something bigger.
Doreen,
we've always had this story, like, some casting agent plucks a girl from like the soda shop fountain counter at Walgreens and makes her a starlet in Hollywood. I mean, there's always been people who've been plucked from obscurity and are famous just because they're cute and somebody discovered them. So it's really not that new of a thing to have happened. The way it's happening is different, and he's certainly not prepared for it, nor did he expect it. But there's precedent for that sort of thing to happen.
I also think that really stories like this show what our culture and what our environment allows to happen today. I mean, you never know what might just blow up into something.
Wait, who is that behind you?
Yeah.
What the hell?
thought his internet feed was real good tonight.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That was awesome.
Da, 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 da. Jesse.
Hey, we're out of time, ladies and gentlemen. So I want to thank you for being here once again, and we will see you in a couple of weeks. And I want to remind everybody that next week is SteamFeed TV. SteamFeed Radio, and that's at 7 o'clock on Blog Talk Radio. And Brooke Ballard, my co-host, and I will be talking with Neil Roth from Germany and Janine Beatty from the UK about the differences in how marketing is being handled and how social media marketers and managers do their jobs over in Europe and how it's done over here. And we might even be having Doreen joining us. So that'll be a fun show. I would recommend everybody to listen in on that. So until in 2 weeks, I'll see you all again. Thanks, folks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.